Betty Arnold and her lesbian lover, Pamela Bubba Hester. They were doing time together in a South Carolina prison. But when Bubba got released, Betty couldn't live without her. So Bubba helped Betty escape. They were last seen in Biloxi, Mississippi, driving a tan Nissan Sentra with license plate number PEK 586. If you've seen them, call 1-800-CRIME-TV. Now, nobody moves. The manhunt starts right now.
It's Saturday, March 27th, 1999. To date, your tips have led to the captures of 555 fugitives. Tonight on America's Most Wanted, America Fights Back. The Yosemite murders. After 3 women disappeared, we joined the family in the hunt for their loved ones.
Where would somebody take them where they wouldn't be seen by everybody?
Now, kidnapping has turned to murder.
We have recovered 2 bodies from the trunk of the vehicle.
Tonight, in an exclusive report, America's Most Wanted takes you inside the family's home.
I do have 3 children to take care of. I fall apart periodically.
And shows you new clues in the investigation. And cops say these gizmos were part of an investment scam.
I'm glad you found me.
Introducing the Christmas tree fire alarm.
Now you found the gizmo guru.
What do you have to say to all the people who have accused you of ripping them off?
Cops say he ripped off $60 million. We follow the victims who say, show me the money.
He has my $10,000 and I want it back.
Also, last week we showed you a murder caught on tape. And the mystery caller who hung up too soon.
Hold on, don't hang up yet, sir. Don't hang up. Damn it. Hello?
Your tips told us who the mystery witness might be. Tonight, we'll see if we can find him and if he can crack the case. Because tonight, America's Most Wanted is where America fights back. Now, from our crime center in Washington, D.C., John Walsh.
Good evening. Our first fugitives tonight are hunters. They staked out their ground and then laid in wait for their prey to arrive. Unfortunately, their target was human. And tonight, the hunters become the hunted by a cop who's been down this road before. John Turchin has the story.
I'm Amanda Davis.
And I'm Russ Spencer. Gunmen left behind a shocking and bloody crime scene in the Northwest Atlanta shopping center. A guard emptying money at an ATM was shot and killed.
He's laying on the ground and it looks like his head's blown off or something.
Hold on, sir.
Okay.
Get further assistance.
When you first get that call, you're jolted. Your heart starts beating, that adrenaline starts pumping.
May 6th of last year, Atlanta PD Homicide Commander Tony Biello arrives at this shopping center on a homicide. The victim is ATM guard William Hill, a father of 2 precious girls.
Mr. Hill had pulled his vehicle in right over here. He exits the vehicle, he walks over, steps up. Before he can get the keys in the door, he's brutally shot 1 time in the head with a high-powered rifle, and he's dead before he even hits the ground.
Atlanta Police.
Hey, I'm at the Tuxedo Shopping Center on Rifle Road.
Uh-huh.
At the Southwest ATM. Somebody just been shot over here.
Male or female?
Male.
Okay, sir, can you see where he's bleeding from?
I just saw him laying on the ground in some red. I just ran at the phone.
As Mr. Hill is lying there, an individual comes from this side of the ATM. He's a suspect in the case. He walks over to the witnesses and he says, call 911, call 911, this man needs help. And nonchalantly steps over, picks up the money canisters, and walks over to the suspect vehicle that's parked and makes their exit.
This didn't happen late at night. It was a bold move in broad daylight. The restaurants were full, people were shopping, the parking lot packed. It quickly became apparent to police that this crime was well thought out, carefully planned, and methodically executed. To pull this off, the assassins needed a vantage point where a shooter could hide in the middle of the parking lot. So they made a makeshift bunker with pine straw.
They had actually taken the time to build shelves and rails to hold the pine straw out to the windows to give them a tunnel lane to shoot out of. It was used as camouflage. A lot of time, a lot of preparation, and a lot of effort went into that.
Police are convinced these murderers were in this parking lot, lying in wait, ready to ambush William Hill more than an hour before the shooting. Witnesses helped Biello develop this sketch of the man who took the money and fled in the 1994 Ford pickup truck. Hours later, cops found the truck, burned to a crisp. the telltale pine straw inside, the evidence lost. For Tony Biello, solving this case has become his passion. For him, this crime hit too close to home.
When the call came in, I said to myself, oh my God, not again. 11 years ago, my brother was shot at this location.
That night, Lieutenant Biello's older brother, JJ, also a cop, tried to stop a robbery at Provino's restaurant. The robber shot him 3 times in the stomach, but that didn't stop JJ.
We started fighting. It was a life or death situation. All of a sudden, in the middle of the battle, I lost all power in my body. I collapsed. He straddled me, pushed the gun in the direction of my face, gave me a little smile and pulled the trigger. I was trying to grab my gun and it caught me in the neck and paralyzed me.
11 years ago, my brother went through this door investigating an armed robbery in progress, and it devastated his life, and it devastated the lives of everybody in our family. The Atlanta Police Department caught these individuals and we put them in prison. I want to catch the individuals that devastated the life of William Hill's family and put them in prison forever so they'll never do it again.
And so do we. Detectives say this man was involved in the shooting of William Hill. They say he did not act alone, but nobody saw the shooter. Remember, they drove a champagne-colored 1994 Ford pickup truck with a camper shell. If you were in Atlanta last May and remember seeing this man or this truck, call 1-800-CRIME-TV.
Our next fugitive has got to be one of the most brazen burglars we've ever come across. Cops call him the dinner-time bandit because he's got the nerve to strike when the victims are at home, and he's at the greatest risk of getting caught. He lives on the edge, and his own brother says he can't stop himself, so we're going to have to.
It's just that he can't stop. He's got a disease. I feel it's a disease. And I feel a lot of people will agree. You know, pretty much anything could be an addiction and disease that's uncontrollable. Eating potato chips could be that way. You know? Why can't dual teeth be that way?
Alan Golder's younger brother should know what makes him tick.
You know, with Alan, his addiction is being a jewel thief. You know, having the thrill, even the thrill of being chased.
Back in the 80s, Golder was dubbed the rock and roll jewel thief because of his dashing good looks and high-profile burglaries. But in 1980, Golder was sent to prison on a murder charge and disappeared from his baby brother's life.
About 6 months to a year after all this happened, back in, was it 80? I was snooping in my mom's drawer, and I found all these newspaper clippings. And this is how I found out about my brother being, arrested for murder.
Even so, in 1996, after serving 16 years, Golder was released and his brother was waiting.
I've always fantasized, all right, about when Alan would get out, about how we'd be together again, you know?
Golder's brother said he tried to go straight, but the cops say Golder didn't.
Alan came out and went right back to what he knows best, being a thief. And that's all Alan Golder is a thief. And unfortunately, at this point, he's a dangerous thief.
Since September of 1997, police have tied Golder to over 70 break-ins along the East Coast. On September 19, 1997, police say Golder uses acrobatic skills to sneak into this house in upscale Greenwich, Connecticut.
He shimmied up the far pole on the end of the porch. He came across the roof to the master bedroom. After he selected the items that he wanted, he came back out of the window to the edge of the porch roof here and shimmied down the column, and you can see the scuff marks.
Now Golder had a new partner in crime. His younger brother drove the getaway car on a few heists in Greenwich.
I drop him off just when the sun set. All right. I go back to a arranged destination, wait for him to come back to the car. I couldn't wait to go through his good, bad goodies. I mean, we're driving away from a crime scene or whatever, and we're driving down the road, and he's looking through jewelry, with the light, flashlight on and stuff. And here I am thinking, what are you, crazy?
He says his big brother couldn't get enough. Police say Golder was out 6 nights a week, stealing more loot while the police were closing in on him. Roadblocks were set up and a 3-state task force was put in place to hunt Golder down. But he managed to elude authorities and completely disappeared. That earned him a spot on America's Most Wanted. According to his brother, that's what Golder wanted.
He said, I'll be on America's Most Wanted in a couple weeks. He loves that attention. He loves attention.
But left behind once again, Golder's brother just wants Golder to do the right thing.
I feel it makes perfect sense for Alan to turn himself in, and I think I'm doing the right thing to protect people, you know, from possible harm. Most of all him, because he's the one in most danger right now.
Police and FBI are hoping to give the dinner-time bandit his just desserts. That's where you come in. Police say if Alan Golder is out on the town, he's spending money but keeping a low profile. Here's a new photo of Golder. Police say he may have grown a goatee and dyed his hair. He may even attempt to have plastic surgery. Police have recently learned he speaks fluent German and could be anywhere, even in Europe. But police suspect he's out west or in a warm climate like Florida. Do you know where Alan Golder is tonight? Call 1-800-CRIME-TV.
Coming up next,
Oh, suckers getting...
he would preach liberation.
The system's been ripping us off. So this is our way of getting paid.
But cops say he got rich off of exploitation, guns, drugs,
That's good, that's good.
and slavery.
Come on! Come on, where y'all going?
And later, more than a month after 3 women go missing, there are finally clues. The case that has captivated a nation and destroyed 2 families. Tonight, you'll go inside the investigation.
Intense efforts are underway to find those responsible for this crime.
I see it every day and I can't stand it. Kids getting involved with drugs. All thinking the same thing. I can handle it. It won't go too far. But it always does go too far. And you never know where it may wind up. Case in point, the Razor Gang.
Thumb up the strip, the back eye, supplements and always got an extra clip. They gonna be cars always fixed. Now picture them eyes, days with no fuel, that's the thirst of it. That good guys were blue, bad guys were black. Where was you at? Where was the first blood?
The Bedford-Stuyvesant section of Brooklyn, the late 1980s. It was here that 2 brothers, Shaka and Umeme Razor, and their gang ruled the streets and dominated the crack market. Their take each week, $90,000 in cash. The method, violence and intimidation.
This gang was one of the most extreme gangs that we have seen on the streets here in New York City, across New York State. Not only because of the volume of drugs that they were dealing, but more importantly because of the volume of violence that they were dealing on the streets of New York.
While they were still teenagers, Shaka and Umeme ran their organization like a small army unit. Police say the Razor Gang operated some 24 crack factories around Brooklyn and had a highly structured chain of command. Police say Derek Henderson, also known as D-Black, was among the Razor brothers' most trusted lieutenants.
You'll see, I need a runner to get this over to Tompkins Avenue.
Yo, this isn't going to Tompkins Avenue. This is headed for Norfolk.
How are we gonna get this up all the way down to Virginia?
We're going to have one of the girls take a bus down. They're going to pretend like they're carrying some groceries to see their grandmother.
See, that's too risky, man. I don't want to cool out. I got this.
They were able to move their operations from Brooklyn, New York, in Brooklyn, New York, to Norfolk, Virginia, to Wilmington, Delaware, to Elizabeth City, North Carolina, all up and down the East Coast. Obviously, the price and the demand for it down there, they were able to sell it at a higher price and gain more of a profit for the organization.
Back in Brooklyn, the gang came up with a sinister way to expand. It involved the homeless.
Yo, my man. What's up, man? I ain't gonna hurt you.
What you went to watch?
Oh, no, I need money in that. Come here, let me talk to you. Want me some real money? Yeah. I mean some raw money. Yeah, your day, baby. Come on, take a ride with us. What's your buddy?
A homeless guy would be on the streets washing cars. The crew would pull up, grab him off the streets, place him into a car, and move him to a location where they were selling crack from.
Get him in there.
At these locations, the homeless would be kept as virtual slaves, forced to sell crack 24 hours a day.
You see that hole right there? Oh, that hole right there. Come on, man. What you doing? $5 a wop. All day long. Handle your business, baby. You just got promoted. What you doing? Come on, man. Stick. Come on, man. Come on. Come on, where y'all going? Come back here.
They would place him in the basement with locks on the doors and a hole in the wall, which he could fit his hand through.
Hurry up, man. We up in, man. You left me in here. Give me something to eat. Come on. Time to feed the dog.
Police say that if Shaka believed someone wasn't working as hard as they could, the punishment could be death. On May 25th, 1988, police say the gang beat and stomped 62-year-old Edward Morris to death. Police say on May 1st, 1993, a landlord who crossed the gang was gunned down on Shaka's orders. The killing started a chain reaction.
What had happened was the group had heard that there was a potential witness in that murder, and they attempted to get rid of that witness. And what they did do was they went to a building in the neighborhood after asking around and trying to figure out who the witness may be, but really not doing their homework that carefully.
Which apartment is it?
What do you think?
You didn't know about that?
Right there.
51-year-old Janella Brown lived in that building. A devoutly religious woman, she was affectionately known to everyone as the church lady.
It's the cable guy. I'm here to install your free cable.
I didn't ask for no cable, honey. Just hold on a minute. Now, Sugar, now you know it's too late.
Let me tell you how out of control this organization was. They go to a building to perform a contract hit. They murder the wrong person, an innocent person. Within a couple of weeks, they return to the same building, one floor above, and this time murder 2 innocent people. They're out of control.
Police say on January 18th, 1994, Shaka Razor ordered his gang to take out another uncooperative landlord. This time, police say, their cold-blooded method involved burning down an entire building with no regard for how many innocent people died as a result.
Kind of light it up.
In the inferno that followed, a woman left to her death as her family watched in horror. As time passed and the reign of terror continued, New York City police joined with other agencies to take down the elusive gang.
I'm giving you a beeper number, right? He's gonna call you back.
They also had Shaka Razor on tape. This real undercover surveillance video shows Shaka making a drug deal.
He gonna call you up, speak to you back. He gonna hook you up, everything. He gonna give you butter. He should be better than wrong.
And on April 16th, 1996, a joint task force struck, arresting May Razor and several other gang members.
We executed the search warrants. We also made several arrests. We unfortunately missed Shaka Razor by approximately 5 minutes. He had gone across the street to get a soda. And unbeknownst to us, was able to slip out a back door and get away.
In April of 1998, May Razor was convicted on murder and drug charges, but Shaka Razor is still at large. Shaka Razor has a glass left eye with a scar underneath. He may be clean-shaven and bald, or have cornrow twists in his hair. He's been seen in New York, New Jersey, and Virginia. Listen to him one more time.
I said, I'm gonna plug you in with this cat right here, right? I'm plugging with this cat. I'm giving you a beep number. He's gonna call you right back. And he's gonna probably tell you to come down where his thing is at.
Derek Henderson is also still at large. He's wanted for murder and may be in Alabama or the New York area. If you've seen Shaka Razor or Derek Henderson, call our hotline at 1-800-CRIME-TV. Remember, you can remain anonymous.
Coming up, a serial rapist is striking terror in a posh New York neighborhood.
I had to do whatever I possibly could to save my life.
A team of cops is hot on his trail.
He's a predator. He's on a hunt, night after night after night.
But when the trail goes cold, they turn to our renowned forensic artist for help.
The sketch looks exactly like him.
Tonight, you can identify him, and we can take him down.
It only takes one phone call to catch this guy.
Manhattan's Upper East Side is known for chic apartments along tranquil tree-lined streets. But at night, this elegant enclave becomes a concrete jungle, prowled by a vicious serial rapist who's had a stranglehold of terror on young women in the neighborhood since 1994.
I felt like I had to do whatever I possibly could to save my life.
And I remember thinking, if I don't do what he says, I'm going to die.
We spent time with detectives John Savino and John Beza, who head up a special task force to catch the East Side rapists. They've been on the case since the very beginning, take their mission right to the streets every day. This animal has hunted and raped 14 women, all as they entered their apartment buildings that have no doorman. All of his victims are young, attractive, and slender, and all have felt sheer terror at the rapist's demands.
He grabbed me, and he put a gun to my head, right to the side of my head, right here.
I knew that this man would have no remorse about either killing me or beating me.
Hunting a rapist who moves from victim to victim, striking at will, is a frustrating challenge. The East Side rapist is elusive, methodical, and violent. The detectives have noticed a pattern. He only makes an appearance 7 months of each year.
Since September of '94, we haven't had any reported attacks in May, June, July, February, or December.
Even knowing this, they haven't caught a break in 3 years. So the detectives brought in renowned forensic artist, Gene Boylan. Gene worked with 4 of the victims, spending 9 hours with each to create a composite sketch.
And I had a very clear picture of his face in my memory, but she was able to really translate that onto paper. The sketch that we ended up with really looks exactly like him.
Once they knew what the rapist looked like, Savino and Beza needed to get inside his mind. For that insight, they turned to Jim Fitzgerald of the FBI's Profiling and Behavioral Assessment Unit.
He's a predator. He's on a hunt, perhaps night after night after night, that he may just choose to sit. And it might very well be a stoop, just like I'm sitting on here, where, in fact, he'll just sit and he'll wait for his prey to walk by. And it's at that time that he'll respond, and he may be behind them within 5 seconds and inside their door and their foyer within 10 seconds. He has to take what he wants by force, be it knife point or gun point.
He's going to keep doing it until he's caught. Sooner or later, I'm afraid that someone's going to get killed.
Over 30,000 people live within the rapist strike zone on the Upper East Side. Finding him is as frustrating as his frequent disappearing act. But the disappearances themselves may be the best clues in this case.
But one part of the pattern that does stick out is that, for whatever reason, he decides not to strike between mid-April and mid-August of every year. It may be that his job moves him to some other location. It may be something as simple as a school that he attends shuts down at that time of year and doesn't resume until August.
The attacks have taken place from 64th to 95th Streets between Lexington and York.
He's either lived here or lives here now. He's either worked here or works here now. Perhaps he's going to school here. Perhaps he's dated someone in this environment. But he knows this area very well.
East Side rapist has been scared off and fought off on occasion. And yet he's continued to strike, despite the best efforts of the task force. They're hunting him on his own turf and won't stop till they bring him down.
This is a serial rapist in this neighborhood. So if you hang out late at night, be careful. Okay?
We all have friends and all family members that could be his target. Protect them. It only takes one phone call to catch this guy.
Now this guy struck just last September, so it looks like he's sticking to his schedule. That means he's likely to strike again when students come back from spring break in April. I pray we find him before that happens. Now, we've got some new developments in some of our most recent cases. So let's get an update from Darlene McCarthy. What's going on, Darlene?
John, we're going to start our update roundup in California. It's a case that we've been stuck on for a while now, but tonight, a refreshed memory and a new reward could help blow this case wide open.
The case centers on Mickey Thompson, a pioneering race car driver in the 50s and 60s, and Trudy Thompson, his devoted wife. On March 16, 1988, outside of their home near Pasadena, California, Mickey and Trudy were ambushed. As we showed you in our reenactment, witnesses say 2 thugs shot Mickey in cold blood. He lived just long enough to see Trudy meet the same fate. Then, the 2 suspects took off on bicycles. Forensic artist Gene Boylan talked to the witnesses and made sketches of the suspects, and that's where the case stood for a long time. But then, one of our viewers saw our profile and called the police. He remembered seeing two men loading bikes onto a Ryder truck in a nearby industrial park just a short while after those murders. Could this clue lead us to the killers? Mickey's sister thinks it can, and she's putting her life savings on the line to make sure it does.
We're putting up $1 million reward for information leading directly to the arrest and conviction of those people who killed Nick and Trudy.
If you have the $1 million tip we need, give us a call tonight. Just last week, we brought you a case from Orland Park, Illinois. In April of 1997, a suspect was caught on tape as he fatally shot gas station attendant Robert Collins. Soon after, cops received this 911 call.
Hi, this is Bob Reynolds of Pool Trucking Company, and I want to tell you about something I seen.
What did you see?
What I seen was, I seen this boy get shot.
The caller knew about the murder of Robert Collins, but he hung up before the dispatcher could get any information. On Saturday night, our viewers told us everything we needed to know about Pool Trucking. More importantly, you gave us lots of tips about the caller, Bob Reynolds. But police have checked them out, and it is the wrong Bob Reynolds. So we need to try again to locate him. He is not a suspect, but the police need to talk to him. So, Bob, if you are watching, please give us a call. And you've given us solid information in two more cases. You've confirmed that accused cop shooter Enrique Corapuna is still on the East Coast. And investigators are confident that alleged drug kingpin Kenneth Booby Williams has been hanging out in Atlanta. So, a special alert to our viewers in that area. That's it from the update desk. John?
Thanks, Darlene. Now stay with us. There's a lot more to come.
Up next, investigators turn to the latest clues to try and solve the Yosemite murders.
We've recovered the car. The car was very badly and totally burned.
And the families turn to you for an answer to their prayers.
Please help us find out who did this. Bring them to justice.
Enter into your own home with...
Son took his wife, Carol, to Yosemite National Park for their honeymoon. Now, 20 years later, Yosemite has become the site of Jen's worst nightmare. That's where his wife, his daughter, and a family friend vanished into thin air. Tonight, we have a special report on the case.
They've lost a lot of boats out here.
Walking along the beach in Eureka, California, a sense of loss is weighing heavily on Yen's son's mind. With his other children at his side, he tries to cope.
How about you, Jonah? Are you cold?
It's tough. It's hard to explain what I've lost. I've lost the one I love, my wife, my daughter, who's our firstborn.
Yen's wife, Carol, along with his daughter, Julie, and their friend, Silvina Peloso, disappeared on Tuesday, February 16th during a fun-filled trip to Yosemite.
We've got a lot of investigative work yet to do on this case.
It's a story that has gripped the entire nation.
The FBI said that there has been...
For the public, the story has been a mystery. For the two families involved, it's been a nightmare. We first met Yen's son right after the women went missing. Yen's immediately organized a small family search to find them and their bright red Grand Prix.
Doesn't look shiny enough, does it?
Then on Friday, February 19th, a valuable clue suddenly appeared. Carol's wallet was found on a busy street in Modesto, California, 2 hours away from the park.
To us, that was an indicator that maybe there was foul play involved.
The FBI launched a massive search effort, and a media frenzy converged on the area.
Larry, I've been under a lot of stress the last 30 days.
The parents of Silvina flew in from Argentina. The families have been friends for 20 years. Their daughters have shared a special bond ever since they were in diapers. Silvina was nearing the end of a 3-month stay in the U.S. when the three vanished.
Maybe it was not an accident, okay. They might have been abducted somewhere or, kidnapped.
As the weeks dragged on, Yen's was torn. Stay and search or go home and care for his 3 other children, Jimmy, Jonah, and Gina. who needed him now more than ever. Reluctantly, he decided to go home. He allowed us to join him, but asked us not to show his kids' faces.
Hey, Dad, what's for dinner?
Pot roast. And potatoes. And carrots.
I fall apart periodically. People have asked me how I can do this and hold up so well, but I do have 3 children to take care of. I do have a business to run. I do have a life to continue with. I want my family back, but I'd also have to continue.
And then the way it's going to work is Shay will put the days...
With his sister Vicky's help, Jens is now trying to learn how to do all the things Carol used to do for him.
And you'll know where you have to be when you have to be 3 places at one time. Okay?
Great.
As Vicky leaves, for the first time in his life, Jens becomes a single dad. With so much to remember, there's bound to be a few slip-ups.
You know, I just realized something. I forgot to bring Jimmy to his practice. I brought Jonah, but I didn't bring Jimmy.
Carol did everything for the family. She did everything for me. I miss all the things she's done for me. She could have organized this search much better than me.
There are hundreds of miles of mines in the mountains behind
Each day, Jens and the kids learn about the search's progress, like the rest of us, from the TV news.
That was pretty grim, huh? That's kind of just shocking, but we're kind of expecting the worst, aren't we, Gina?
Then last week, the worst news yet. The women's car was finally recovered. Everyone realized they'd been looking in the wrong place. The intense search for the missing women had centered around the Cedar Lodge on the edge of Yosemite and Modesto, where Carol's wallet was found. But the car was discovered more than 3 hours away from Yosemite, near Sonora, California, off Highway 108 in a wooded area.
The car was very badly and totally burned, obviously in an effort to destroy evidence.
Yeah, look at the, right next to the highway there.
Back in Eureka at a local TV station, Jens watches the grim news unfold. The next morning, the families were given heartbreaking news about their loved ones.
We have recovered 2 bodies from the trunk of the vehicle. No identification has been made. Intense efforts are underway to locate the 3rd victim.
As a father, I feel terrible. I'm supposed to die. But we're supposed to die before our children and our grandchildren, and this is the wrong way. And help us find these people.
It's a horrible waste of 3 wonderful lives.
Carol Carrington and her husband Francis soon learned that one of the bodies in the car was their daughter Carol. The 2nd body appears to be their friend Sylvina, and late this week, Julie's body was found nearby. As Jens and his children grieved privately, family members continue the quest to learn what had happened. Carol's dad, Francis, started at the Cedar Lodge with FBI agent Jim Maddox.
They were inside the gift shop at around 6 o'clock on Monday evening, February 15th, and then they had dinner in the diner there, and they left, as best we can tell, about 7:35.
Then they walked back to their room. Carol and the girls were the only guests staying in this isolated section of the hotel. They never checked out the next day, and a few items were left in the room.
It just isn't like her. She would, before she left the room, she would walk around the room like you and I do and double check and see if there's any shoes under the bed or such as that. And there were some items left.
The FBI believes the women may have encountered trouble near the lodge because that's where they were last seen on February 15th. Then in Modesto, where the wallet was found, Frances discovered a possible sighting of the women, but it was the day after they were seen at the lodge.
I put it together that it was the daughter and her daughter's friend.
He found a waitress who says she waited on the women on February 16th. Then along Highway 108, near where the car was found, there was another sighting at this gas station, possibly the same day.
I said, "Are you on your way home?" And she said, "No, I'm from Argentina," and that's all I remember.
And the women allegedly stopped in this nearby shop that afternoon. The FBI remains skeptical of those sightings. Agents instead are focusing on these photos recovered from rolls of film found at the crime scene. They hope the pictures will yield more clues to the women's abduction.
I wasn't too sure I wanted to look at them to begin with, but they're really very happy pictures. And the girls were having a wonderful time.
Time may give Jens more answers, but it will never bring back the love of his life or his firstborn. It's a fear Jens' youngest daughter, Gina, expressed in a poem to her mother.
Late at night, I wait for your return, but deep in my heart, I know something my mind doesn't want to learn. At a time when I need my mother's touch most, all I see are our pictures nailed to a post. I try to stay strong because I know that's what you'd want your baby to be, but Mommy, I don't want you to leave me.
We won't rest until we have justice for these families. So please, if you know anything about what happened to Carol Sund, her daughter Julie, and their friend Silvina Peloso, call our hotline tonight.
Up next, he got really rich off gadgets.
Created by a 9-volt battery inside its elegant design.
But cops say everybody else got burned.
What do you have to say to all the people who have accused you of ripping them off?
You tracked down the guy the cops called the $60 million man.
He's been caught.
He has.
Now we're going on a treasure hunt.
I want my $10,000 back. This man is living a high life, ripping off people.
Brutally murdered a Pennsylvania man, stabbing him 20 times. He has a tattoo of the number 26 on his right arm. Call if you've seen it. Investigators say Eric Stein scammed his victims out of some $60 million before one of our viewers took him down. The cops say even while he was on the run, he continued his illegal schemes. Arlena Nozizwe has the story of the Gizmo King.
Pet is part of your family. Order the ID Claire Talking Pet Tag today and give your pet a voice.
Talking tags for pets.
I'm glad you found me.
Zipper ties.
Always be ready to look your best. Introducing the Christmas tree fire alarm.
And a Christmas ornament that doubles as a smoke detector. They may look like gimmicky gadgets to you, but investigators say they were all part of Eric Stein's scam. Authorities say Stein conned investors into thinking they could make millions by investing in the products he was advertising on television. A former employee of Stein says business could not have been better.
We'd have a bonus party every Friday, and we were always recognized. The highest salesperson was recognized. It was very exciting.
Very exciting, but also very illegal. Investigators say Stein was running a classic pyramid scheme where original investors got money when new investors came in. The money that was paid out gave the illusion that business was booming. Problem is that investors at the bottom of the rung ended up with nothing.
This scheme probably is the largest investment scam in the history of the state of Nevada. There are 1,700 swindled investors or victims that we know of thus far.
One of those swindled investors is the same woman who used to work for Stein, Carolyn Mateo. She invested $10,000 in Stein. It was all the money the single mother had in the world. These days, she has to choose between buying toothpaste and toilet paper.
If you could say something to him right now, what would you say?
I forgive you, but I'm still really angry, and I would really like my money back.
It's changed your life.
Carolyn got a step closer to telling him exactly what she thinks when one of our tipsters led us to the newly blonde Stein last month in Chula Vista near San Diego. We were there when police stopped him on his way to dinner.
What do you have to say to all the people who have accused you of ripping them off? Do you know that you're on America's Most Wanted? He knew he was on America's Most Wanted.
Yes, he did. He said he saw himself briefly. He knew he was wanted, and that's why he was constantly on the move. He said it was very stressful, and it was so stressful it almost made him sick.
He's been caught.
He has, yes, I know. Isn't that wonderful? That is so wonderful.
We wanted to know exactly what Eric Stein was up to during his time on the run. Well, Carol and Mateo also had a vested interest in what the accused swindler was doing, so we set off together, not sure of what we'd find. For starters, we found out that Stein moved into this office building in January, where he was apparently running another scam. This is it.
Wow, this is it, huh? Oh, my goodness.
What do you want to know about what he was doing?
Everything. So this is it. The audacity of this man to do this, I don't understand. How did he rent the place, under whose name?
As you can see on this bad rent check, Stein went by the name Alonzo Arce.
It's kind of a telemarketing storefront where he worked out of and was doing investments and asking for $5,000 investments from people, at which time he would then deposit into an account that basically only he had access to.
Landlord Jerry Prince says there was always something suspicious about him.
Well, I thought he was unusual. He had this yellowish hair that he'd obviously dyed, and sort of was not very friendly. He wasn't unfriendly. He was sort of a stealthy personality.
When they rented the place, what did they tell you that they did?
They said that was a wholesale distribution, import-export business. They were going to export and import exotic tequilas and stuff from Mexico into this country.
He was passing himself off as a representative for big-name companies like Snapple, Kraft Food, General Products, hoping to get people to send him a check at $5,000 increments.
It must have made him nervous. The only drink inside Stein's office was antacid.
Incredible. Really incredible. I mean, God. Oh, yeah, these are clients.
Before long, we found evidence of people who trusted in Stein enough to invest in him, just like Carol.
And I feel really badly for these people, so...
Look how the amounts, someone's
50 years old. 70 years old. 81.
So, yeah, what does it do to you to look at these?
It makes me feel really sad. And it makes me feel... I have a mixture of feelings. I feel really sad. I'm happy that he is in jail. I'm sad for the people that he continues to rip off. I'm angry that he has the audacity to do this. I'm angry that he has gotten away with this.
We just scratched the surface right now, but there's a tremendous cash flow from the hundreds of thousands into the millions just since he's probably been in Chula Vista.
What did all that money buy Stein? Well, our next stop was to go to his neighborhood, which offered more surprises.
Wow. This does not look like a convict neighborhood. So this is the house. Oh my God, this is a nice house. Looks like a little palace in there.
And now that he's in custody, his accommodations aren't quite so posh. He's back in Las Vegas now in a small cell awaiting trial.
I love you, Teddy Bear.
Carolyn wanted to see the jailed Stein herself, a person she has hope for in spite of everything she saw. For now, she's expressed her feelings about him in a letter.
Many people turn their lives around. It's never too late, and we're never too old, never too anything. Give these poor victims all their hard-earned money.